before it became the most iconic chase car in movie history. Frank Bullitt's 1968 Mustang Fastback was nothing more than a forgotten green machine sitting in a studio garage, destined for scrap metal. No one at the time knew that this modest Highland Green coupe would soon redefine how the world sees car chases, or that it would turn Steve McQueen into a legend behind the wheel. But here's the twist. There wasn't just one car. There were two nearly identical Mustangs, twins born on the same day, carrying different fates, one bound for glory, the other for oblivion, and the secrets they carried were buried deep in Hollywood's steel and smoke. Why did one of them vanish for half a century in Mexico? Why did McQueen himself fail to buy back the car that made him immortal? And what hidden engineering sorcery allowed this Mustang to survive the most brutal chase ever filmed? Fasten your seatbelt because we're diving into the untold story of passion, danger, and destiny. These are the 20 weird facts that turned Frank's Mustang into a legend. Number 20, Twin Shadows, 2 cars, 1 legend. The story begins with a trick of Hollywood magic. In Bullitt, the roaring green Mustang wasn't just one car, it was 2. Both were 1968 GT fastbacks with sequential VINs, born minutes apart on the same Ford assembly line. To the untrained eye, they were identical, but in truth, one was the hero car, reserved for close-ups and dialogue scenes, while the other was the stunt car, built to suffer. The production team kept switching them back and forth so perfectly that even lifelong car fanatics spent decades believing it was just one unbreakable Mustang defying gravity across San Francisco's hills. It took nearly 50 years before fans finally realized the truth. 2 cars, 2 destinies, and 1 unstoppable legend. Number 19, the Sacrificial Machine. The stunt car, chassis number 558, was built to take punishment. Every brutal jump, every landing that made audiences gasp, that was this car. It wasn't just acting, it was destruction captured on film. The production crew reinforced its suspension, welded its underbody, and still, it broke again and again. 10 days of filming turned it into a bent, scarred warrior, but it kept moving, roaring, leaping. The hero car stayed clean and beautiful, while this one bled oil and metal for the sake of cinema. If the Bullitt chase became legendary, it was because one Mustang gave its body so another could live forever. Number 18, Highland Green, the color nobody wanted. The color that defined Bullitt was never meant to be famous. Highland Green was a dark metallic shade Ford struggled to sell in 1968. Too subdued, too ordinary. But that was precisely why the filmmakers chose it. Frank Bullitt wasn't a flashy cop. He blended into the city. The crew stripped off all badges and chrome, leaving a car that looked like just another commuter's ride. Yet under that quiet paint hid fury. After the movie, Highland Green became the most requested color in Mustang history. Dealers couldn't keep up. What was once a dull tone of anonymity became a badge of rebellion. Number 17, Wheels of Rebellion. The wheels spinning through the chase weren't factory stock. The crew swapped the standard GT rims for American Racing Torque Thrust D5 spokes, raw aluminum muscle that screamed authenticity. They made Bullitt's Mustang look like a street racer's secret weapon, powerful but unpolished. The choice wasn't just aesthetic. Those wheels were tougher, forged to survive airborne landings. Decades later, American Racing still produces the same design, now known simply as Bullitt wheels. A minor change that became a timeless signature, proof that rebellion can start with something as small as a set of rims. Number 16, the man behind the monster, Max Balchowski. When the studio needed someone to transform the Mustangs into chase-ready beasts, they called Max Balchowski, a racing engineer famous for making underdog machines beat Ferraris. Balchowski reinforced shock towers, installed racing springs, and welded camera mounts right onto the frame. His genius was invisibility. He made the Mustang handle like a race car without ever looking modified. "You can't see my work," he once said, "but you can feel it." Thanks to Max, the Bullitt Mustang wasn't just a prop, it was a predator disguised as an everyday car. Number 15, the roar that defined a generation. The voice of Bullitt wasn't added in post-production. It was real, raw, and unfiltered. The 390 cubic inch FE V8 engine roared through custom headers and almost straight pipes, creating that thunderous growl that shook theaters in 1968. The sound crew didn't sweeten it with effects. What audiences heard was the Mustang itself screaming for mercy as McQueen floored it. The engine note became a generation's heartbeat. Even today, Mustang owners spend fortunes trying to replicate that exact tone. It wasn't just noise, it was rebellion given a voice. Number 14, cameras under fire. To capture the most immersive chase scene ever filmed, the crew welded steel tubing directly under the Mustang's body to mount heavy 35mm cameras. These weren't small GoPros, they weighed over 30 pounds each. Mounted just inches from the asphalt, they gave viewers the sense of speed and danger as if they were inside the car. Every jump risked ripping the cameras loose, but they held. When the Mustang went airborne, so did the lens, and cinema changed forever. Those shots weren't just impressive, they put audiences behind the wheel for the first time in history. Number 13. Holes in the trunk. By the end of filming, both Mustangs looked like they'd been to war. The trunks were riddled with holes, drilled to run thick electrical cables powering the cameras and lights. Rain would pour straight in, soaking the spare tire wells, but no one cared. These cars were tools, not treasures. They carried batteries, monitors, and miles of cables like mobile film studios. Every scar told a story, every dent a memory. Today, restorers treat those same holes as sacred proof that the car truly lived through Bullitt. Number 12. Less is meaner. Sometimes removing something makes it more powerful. The Bullitt Mustang had its reverse lights, GT emblems, and chrome trims deleted, stripped down until nothing remained but pure muscle. The result was a car that looked raw, purposeful, like it belonged to a man who didn't need to show off. This debadging also made it harder for viewers to notice when the crew swapped between the two cars. What began as a continuity trick became a defining aesthetic, simplicity as aggression, understatement as attitude. Number 11. JJZ109, the license that became a myth. JJZ109, 6 simple characters that became an icon. The black and yellow California plate wasn't real. The studio made it up to avoid legal issues, but it became so legendary that thousands of fans tried to register it for their own cars. California eventually banned the combination altogether. Original prop plates now sell for tens of thousands of dollars. For collectors, JJZ109 isn't just a number, it's the password to a secret brotherhood of Bullitt devotees, united by a plate that never truly existed. Number 10. The Stunt King's secret, Bud Ekins. Steve McQueen did much of his own driving in Bullitt, but the most death-defying jumps weren't his. They belonged to his close friend and stunt double, Bud Ekins, the same man who leapt the barbed wire fence in The Great Escape. Ekins handled the Mustang like a weapon, timing each launch down San Francisco's hills to perfection. The impacts were bone-shattering. After some takes, Bud could barely walk, yet he insisted on repeating the jumps until the footage was flawless. McQueen may have been the face of the chase, but Bud Ekins was its heartbeat, the unsung daredevil who turned gravity into spectacle. Number 9. The Forgotten Years. After filming Wrapped, the hero car didn't retire to a museum. It became a family car. A Warner Brothers employee sold it to a man in New Jersey named Robert Kiernan, who used it for grocery runs and school drop-offs. No one realized the history parked in that suburban driveway. In 1980, a bad clutch sent the car into storage, where it slept for nearly 4 decades under dust and spider webs. While fans argued online about where the Bullitt Mustang had gone, it sat quietly in Tennessee, waiting for the world to remember it. When it resurfaced in 2018, still wearing its single coat of faded Highland Green, the crowd fell silent. The legend had returned home. Number 8. McQueen's unsent letter. In 1977, Steve McQueen tried to reclaim the car that defined him. He tracked down Robert Kiernan and wrote a polite letter asking to buy it back, even offering to trade another Mustang in return. Kiernan refused, respectfully but firmly. McQueen never forgot that rejection. He wrote again, sent friends to negotiate, but the answer never changed. 3 years later, McQueen died, and the car stayed hidden. That letter still exists today, a tangible reminder that even Hollywood's king of cool couldn't always get what he wanted. Some legends, it seems, aren't meant to be owned. Number 7. Lost in Mexico. The stunt car, chassis 558, was thought destroyed for decades. Its frame was bent, its body battered beyond repair. But in 2017, a restorer in Baja, Mexico, discovered a beaten-up Mustang painted white with strange reinforcements under the chassis. When he checked the VIN, his hand shook. It matched the lost Bullitt stunt car. How it ended up in Mexico remains a mystery. Perhaps sold cheap, perhaps smuggled, no one knows. But there it was, the car that took the punishment, the real jumper, reborn from rust. Hollywood had forgotten it, but Destiny hadn't. Number 6. Into the history books. In 2020, the Bullitt Mustang received an honor no other movie car had ever earned. It was entered into the U.S. National Historic Vehicle Register. Its blueprints, 3D scans, and every scratch were archived in the Library of Congress. Alongside Rosa Parks' bus and the first American automobile, it was officially recognized as part of national history, not just a film prop, but a cultural artifact, a symbol of freedom, rebellion, and American grit. Few machines ever crossed that line between tool and legend. The Bullitt Mustang did. Number 5. The auction that shocked the world. January 2020, Kissimmee, Florida. The room fell silent as the hammer dropped. $3.74 million. The Bullitt Mustang had just become the most expensive Ford ever sold at auction. Collectors stood frozen, some clapped, others whispered in disbelief. This wasn't a pristine Shelby or a futuristic concept car. It was a worn-out movie prop with chipped paint and a story worth its weight in gold. For years, enthusiasts had called it priceless. That night, it finally had a price. And it proved that history, emotion, and myth can outbid perfection. Number 4. Born together, separated by fate. The twin Mustangs that starred in Bullitt rolled off the same assembly line in Metuchen, New Jersey on September 25, 1967, chassis numbers 558 and 559. They were born minutes apart, sold to the same dealer, bought by the same studio, and then sent down two opposite roads. One lived a life of pain and stunts, the other of quiet fame. 50 years later, both resurfaced. The battered stunt car in Mexico, the hero car in America, like brothers finally reuniting after a lifetime apart. Their story is more than coincidence. It's destiny written in steel. Number 3. The one-coat secret. After filming ended, the hero car needed a quick touch-up before being sold. The studio applied a single coat of Highland Green, just one. Beneath it, the scars of Bullitt remained. Stone chips, scratches, bare metal from chase scenes. That thin layer of paint became its DNA. When experts examined the car decades later, those imperfections confirmed its authenticity. Every mark matched a moment in the film. Ironically, what was once a cheap repaint ended up preserving the car's soul. It wasn't restoration, it was resurrection. Number 2. Manual Fury. Both Mustangs were equipped with Ford's toughest 4-speed manual transmissions. The chase wouldn't have worked any other way. The clunk of the shifter, the scream of the clutch, the snap of gear changes, they made the audience feel every moment. McQueen demanded real driving. No automatics, no tricks. During filming, the transmissions were rebuilt multiple times from the abuse. But the sound of those gear shifts, violent, desperate, perfect, became part of the movie's rhythm. In Bullitt, the gearbox wasn't just mechanical, it was musical. Number 1. The Sleeper's Code. Here lies the final secret, the philosophy behind Bullitt's Mustang. It wasn't built to show off, it was built to move fast without looking fast. No stripes, no spoilers, no flash, just raw performance hidden under silence. In an age when muscle cars screamed for attention, Bullitt whispered and conquered. That became the blueprint for the sleeper car culture. Vehicles that looked ordinary but hid extraordinary power. The Bullitt Mustang taught us something timeless, that true strength doesn't need to shout. It simply accelerates past everything else. And before we unveil the final truth, here's a reminder. If stories like this ignite your passion, hit that subscribe button and tell us which fact blew your mind the most. Because legends like this deserve to be remembered and shared. The Bullitt Mustang wasn't just a car, it was a rebellion made of steel, a symbol of quiet power in a world obsessed with noise. Two identical machines rolled out of a Ford factory in 1967. One was battered into near death, the other vanished into dust. Yet both found their way back into history's light. The stunt car rose from a Mexican scrapyard. The hero car, once a family's grocery hauler, became a national treasure. Its roar still echoes across generations. Its chase still defines cinematic adrenaline, and its philosophy, strength without arrogance, still inspires those who understand that real cool doesn't need to scream. In the end, the Bullitt Mustang wasn't immortal because of fame or fortune. It endured because it represented something human, the fight to stay authentic in a world of illusions. Because sometimes, it's not the movie that makes the car a legend, it's the soul behind the wheel.